It's been about 9 months since I made a video about the state of Spidey comics, and I wish that I could tell you with a wholehearted response that things have gotten better over time, but they have not. It seems like every single writing decision behind Marvel editorial deliberately chooses to ignore what people want, instead going for the complete opposite for just shits and giggles. Like, this new run is fundamentally wrong in every single story beat it's taken. And it hurts my eyes putting myself through reading this run, hoping that one day something will change for the better. Holding out hope for the fucking bare minimum that Peter will hold it together and regain some sense of inner self again. Instead of whatever this bullshit has been for the last year. It's actually mind-boggling to me. Peter struggles to keep up with a 70-year-old man with vulture wings he's taken out with ease more times than I can count. He quakes at the knees talking to Black Cat like a 12-year-old. He says he loves Mary Jane like a sister. He chooses to beat the shit out of the Fantastic Four when he could just instead talk to them because they're pretty much like family to Peter. And there's so many more instances where Spider-Man is just completely written out of character. And before I go on, I also would like to say that I hold no ill will to Zeb Wells. He's made some good stories in the past, so I choose to believe that there is some third party deliberately at play. But as far as this run goes, it makes this terrible 3D Spider-Man comic look like the fucking Mona Lisa. And it's honestly really sad when you think about it that comics like Thor or Venom or even Daredevil treat the character of Spider-Man with so much more respect than the actual comic for Spider-Man. It's crazy. But there has been a recent development that has somewhat piqued my interest for Spider-Man comics again, that has changed my palate from dog water to cigarette water. And that's Peter becoming the Spider-Goblin, I'll call it. Now, at face value, that sounds like something an edgy kid in 4th grade would come up with, but I promise you, it's something. Sort of like the Batman Who Laughs, which I particularly like, but I know there are a lot of people who don't. It showcases a Spider-Man infected with the soul of the Green Goblin. Now, you might be thinking, how in the hell did that happen, Mullet-Man? And I'll explain it to you through some mystical wistical nonsense that I'm gonna brush over because it even confuses me at times. Essentially, Norman Osborn sold his son's soul to Mephisto for more power and money. But the catch was that Norman would be merged with the Goblin Demon. Now, years and years of being the Green Goblin set out on making Peter's life miserable, it'd all eventually catch up to him, and the two ended up separating from a magic shotgun. Like I said, mystical wistical nonsense. After which Norman became normal and the Goblin Demon was sent to another. Cut to the present, Kraven, but not Kraven, but Kraven's son, wants to enact his most daring hunt ever, to hunt the nemesis of Spider-Man, the Green Goblin. So, after sleeping with the Queen of Goblins, Kraven gets what he needs and imbues a spear with the spirit of the Goblin to make Norman a Goblin Man again after stabbing him. Please bear with me here. To keep a long story short, Kraven barrels into Norman's lab like a bull in a china shop and nearly merges the two back together. But Norman's Fortnite duo Spidey jumps in the way at the very last second, taking the blow meant for Norman, absorbing the Goblin Demon, leaving everyone in the room shook, because Peter rises up like Light Yagami after revealing he was Kira all along. I also just want to take a moment to say that this panel goes so unbelievably hard. It's something about the way Peter looks so menacing that just hits different. Anyways, cut to the next night. Peter is mauling in his apartment, thinking over how being the Amazing Spider-Man has gotten him nowhere in life, and how he's let villains like Kraven walk all over him. Splatting a spider, he tells himself that there will be no more of that. And as lightning crackles, Peter walks towards his closet to put on a suit he swore he'd never wear again, as a voice whispers in Peter's mind to embrace his inner rage. Meanwhile, back over at Kraven's mansion, he's scared out of his mind, afraid of what he's done to Spider-Man. Knowing he's made a grave mistake, he tries to arm himself to take on Spider-Man. But in the midst of arming himself, Spider-Man's already in Kraven's mansion, ready for a fight, striking Kraven when he'd least expect it by injecting a drug directly into his neck. This instantly throws Kraven off his game, seeing Spider-Man as a demon now, telling Kraven that he better get going, screaming with unbridled rage at Kraven to run. And this panel is so visually striking to me because Patrick Gleason just kind of captured the inner rage in Peter's face just behind the mask so perfectly. Moving on, Kraven hauls ass outside so fear-stricken that he now knows he's no longer the hunter, but the hunted. Kraven tries hiding under a bridge to get his bearings, but Spider-Man is unrelenting, overpowering Kraven in every way imaginable. pinning Kraven to the ground, no longer holding back his strength, says to Kraven that he can't believe there was ever a time he was afraid of him, that he let Kraven get away with everything he's done, including burying him. Peter then throws Kraven aside to play with Kraven some more, as he swings off laughing maniacally, stalking his prey. Eventually, Kraven, with no other option, swims towards the sewers in an attempt to lose Spider-Man, but Kraven has no idea that he's actually played right into Spider-Man's hands. This all comes to a head with Spider-Man watching Kraven from above, shouting that he's gone far enough for the drug to finally work. Kraven says that he doesn't feel a thing though. However, Spider-Man says that it's not supposed to work on him, as red eyes glisten from the shadows, revealing several rat people crawling their way from the depths to get a taste of Kraven, due to the pheromones Kraven produced from sweating out the drug. Soon a deadly battle between the vermin and Kraven commence as Spider-Man watches from above. Kraven fights tooth and nail to survive the vermin horde until he is eventually swallowed in the wave of rats. But before they can eat Kraven alive, Spider-Man tosses aside the rat people along with breaking a few of their teeth in, sending the vermin scattering as Spider-Man grabs a bloodied and beaten Kraven, dragging him off to his final stop, after which Kraven awakens to the beating drops of rain, alongside a rifle thrown down to him by Spider-Man, telling Kraven he can have the rifle in case he wants to skip to the end, closing the coffin on an utterly broken Kraven screaming to be let out, while Spider-Man just says that it's a pretty fine day, as he grabs a shovel, proceeding to bury him alive, ending the story. Now, this story is still ongoing, and from some of the leaks that I've seen, it looks like he's going after Paul next. And if you don't know who Paul is, he's the Mr. Steelio girl in Marvel. And oh man, this is gonna be crazy. Just seeing this new manic Spider-Man that isn't held back by the weight of morality is so refreshing to me. Because if I can't have a Spider-Man with a wife and kid, or a Spider-Man that has his life somewhat together, and I'm forced to be stuck with this 35-year-old man-child version of Spider-Man, I'll take a Spider-Man that just goes batshit insane, even if it is for a short while. And I'm still holding out hope that this run can get somewhat better, but we'll just have to wait and find out. But I hope y'all liked this video, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and as always, I'll catch y'all on the flip side.
What about my generous proposal? Are you grittying, or are you out?
It's you who's out, Gobby! Out of your mind!
Wrong answer. I said right foot creep. Ooh, walking with that heat. Look around, stay low, make sure they don't